Okay, what if you could live to be 117? And I don't just mean survive, I mean live well. Today, we are diving into the absolutely incredible story of a woman who did exactly that, and what science is learning from her. 117. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. That is the age Maria Branyas Morera reached. Before she passed away in August of 2024, she was the oldest verified living person on the entire planet. And, for someone who lived through so much history, she had this incredibly humble way of looking at it. She once said, "My only merit is that I'm alive." But for scientists, well, her life was way more than that. It was a genuine biological mystery. So how in the world did she do it? Was it just pure luck? Amazing genes? Her lifestyle? And, what can her story teach all of us about the secrets to a long, healthy life? That's exactly what a team of researchers set out to discover. So Maria was living in this small town in Catalonia, Spain, and by all accounts, enjoying a pretty normal life. She was reading books, playing with dogs, and spending time with her family, which included her two daughters, who were both in their 90s themselves. Just incredible. Her extraordinary case, as you can imagine, caught the eye of a team of researchers, led by a scientist named Dr. Manel Estelar. They saw a unique opportunity here to study her physiology and really understand the biology of aging itself, hoping to find clues that could help us all. And Maria was totally on board to help. So the team collected a whole range of biological samples. We're talking blood, saliva, urine, and even stool to get the full picture of her genetics, her metabolism, and yes, even the trillions of tiny organisms living in her gut. All right, so what did they find? Well, the first major clue was right there in her DNA. It turns out Maria had essentially won what Dr. Estelar calls the genetics lottery. And the specifics here are just fascinating. Her genome, her unique genetic code, had these special variants that basically acted like a shield against major age-related diseases like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. She had zero genetic risk factors for Alzheimer's. And get this, she even had genes that have been linked to an extreme lifespan in other species. It's like her body was genetically armored for a long, long life. But here's the thing. The story is not just about having good genes. The investigation took a really surprising turn when they looked inside her cells, specifically at these things called telomeres. Okay, quick science lesson. The easiest way to think about telomeres is to imagine the little plastic tips on your shoelaces. They protect the ends of your chromosomes from fraying. Now, every single time a cell divides, those telomeres get just a little bit shorter. That's a totally normal part of aging. So this is where scientists found a real head-scratcher, a paradox. The common thinking was that exceptionally short telomeres were a huge red flag, a sign of age-related disease. But Maria's were exceptionally short, and yet she was perfectly healthy. So her case suggests something new, that for some people, really short telomeres might not be a sign of sickness, but simply a sign of being, well, exceptionally old. Now, of course, we've got to be clear here. This is an incredibly deep look at just one person. As one geneticist pointed out, these are fascinating clues for sure, but they're not universal laws of aging just yet. Still, what powerful clues they are. So this brings us to clue number 3. If it's not just her genes, what about her daily habits? How did her lifestyle interact with that amazing genetic blueprint? The team basically boiled it down to a few key pillars of her healthy life: a classic Mediterranean diet, regular exercise, and something she did every single day without fail. She ate yogurt. And we're going to come back to that yogurt in just a moment because it's a big deal. And you could literally see the results of her lifestyle choices in her blood work. She had incredibly low markers for inflammation, high levels of that good cholesterol, and low levels of the bad kind. In fact, her immune system was so robust that at 113 years old, she became the oldest person in Spain to survive COVID-19. Think about that. So, where was all this low inflammation coming from? Well, the researchers believe a huge part of the answer was hiding in her gut. Her gut microbiome, that's the whole community of bacteria living inside her, it looked more like that of a much, much younger person. And this brings us right back to the yogurt. It turns out her gut was packed with high levels of a really good bacteria called bifidobacterium. The scientists think her daily yogurt habit was a key reason why. And they believe this super healthy gut was a major factor in keeping her body-wide inflammation so incredibly low. So, when you put all of these clues together, you start to see this really powerful story unfold. See, it wasn't just her amazing genes, and it wasn't just her healthy lifestyle. It was the remarkable way the two worked together. Dr. Esteller, the lead researcher, summed it all up with this perfect analogy. He said, "Our genes are the cards in a poker game, but how we play them is what really matters." Maria was dealt an amazing hand, there's no doubt about it, but she also played that hand brilliantly through her choices every single day. And really, that's the big takeaway for all of us. Look, we can't all win the genetic lottery like Maria did. But her story shows us that how we live our lives, what we eat, how we move, can have a profound impact. So the question she kind of leaves us with is this. You've been dealt your genetic hand. How are you going to play it?